With Scotty then, so probably undercooked a touch at the Masters, and with his 31 under at the Byron Nelson recently, that would suggest he's sharp again, and he's many people's favourites. So take it as read that he's an amazing golfer. And that is the headline here. And I hate myself for asking kind of the question I'm going to ask, but just in terms of what he represents for golf, a niche sport trying to burst through at times, like you saw McIlroy on Jimmy Fallon, even something that's kind of throwaway was that there was kind of an electricity in the crowd. It felt like he'd had this big crossover moment. I don't know what Scotty would have to do to have a crossover moment. He is often talked about as Tiger Woods in disguise, the way he plays so, sensationally. He's kind of just metronomic. I don't know how to phrase it in a fair way. Is he the number one golf needs? Is he ever going to be fascinating? Is there ever going to be 10,000 words in the New Yorker on Scotty? And it's unfair on him. He's a golfer first, but your impressions of him as a kind of representative of golf, one of golf's superstars, Scotty Scheffler.
Yes. Great question. I think too much is expected in terms of great players revealing everything about themselves. And I think he's used his natural personality and shyness, and it's not really shyness. I think it's just caution, and don't get ahead of yourself. Stay, one shot at a time, basically. Get good at golf, as good as you can be, and everything else flows from that. He's an intelligent guy. He's kind of fun to talk to.
Yeah,
I haven't had long conversations with him, but
I should say he's low level, kind of funny in press conferences and good. And
yes.
like, geez, he's better than Tiger in a press conference.
Yes,
not like Tiger gave anything. It's more. I don't know what the best way to describe. When you're watching golf with somebody who doesn't watch golf,
right? They go, yeah.
And
yes.
Certain players come on screen and they stop and they look. They look when Rory comes on screen. They look when Tiger comes on screen. Nobody who's not into golf says, "Shh, stop! I want to see this shot from Scotty." It's a charisma almost, or a presence on the golf course, which his excellence should have. But I don't know if it's getting people to tune in.
Yeah, I almost don't like pandering to that kind of. Not that you're pandering, but
I'm sure I am.
No, you're not. You're asking the question is like, what is the thing that makes someone magnetic? And if you love golf, to me, Scotty's magnetic. But if you are looking for extra stuff, it's antithetical to golf in most cases to be, very on the golf course demonstrative, and it just hurts you. It takes you out of the moment. So I think the great players. I mean, Jack was this way. Jack got to be very comfortable, in the spotlight, but he also always prioritized his golf. And I think people started to understand, look, he's doing something incredibly well here. Let him do it the way he does it.
Yeah.
And he'll smile sometimes, and he was engaging as he got older and got more comfortable, but we appreciate it in context with his main task. And because of that main task, we actually loved him more, I think, because it's beautiful to see someone do something so difficult so well. And that's how I look at Scotty. And I've seen his personality, and, he's a lovely guy. I love that word you guys use so often. Lovely. He is. You feel like he's had a lot of love in his life. He's not hungry for attention. He's not needy. He's very comfortable with his people. Teddy, his caddy's a really funny, under the radar guy. It's a nice relationship that he shares with others that he trusts. Now, he also has he's Christian, and I think there's, Bernhard Langer is Christian. You could say he's an automaton, but there's just more appreciation for everything he's done too. I don't say they're the same. I only say that can have a kind of blunting effect on your public persona a bit, because you're just not as seeking adulation. You're doing it for a higher power. And instead of just doing it for the people, and that's what people want, I think. And I think Rory connects that way. In some ways, Tiger did in the arena. He connected that way, but he was very private away from it. But it's amazing how much love Tiger engendered, and I have to say it was mostly about the excellence.
Yeah, it was.
He gave us this gift of seeing something done so well, and I think Scotty's close to that. So I think he's good for golf, honestly. because that's what golf is to me. Golf is a niche sport. I mean, to make it seem like, oh God, it's going to explode and the whole world's going to love golf. I've never understood if somebody doesn't play golf at least a little bit. I don't understand how they could really enjoy watching it on television.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, I guess, for the landscapes and stuff. But man, I mean, there's just a lot of guys standing around, marking putts, and it's like, what's going on here? So you have to understand the task, and to me, that is what, in the end, should be the measure. But it's going to keep golf relatively small compared to the NFL or even soccer.
Yeah.
It's just not an action sport. It's all internalized. But if you understand the challenge and you see somebody doing it well, you have to admire that person. And I sometimes probably am guilty of, ascribing high character to being able to play golf well, but I still kind of believe it. I think it takes a lot of character. And so to deal with the game's frustrations and all the disappointments, and still overcome it. So I think Scotty's great at that. So I'm a Scotty fan, and he happens to be the number one. I think there is a relationship to the way he is as a person to be a number one. I think he handles his situation, whatever it is, in a really controlled way, not an artificial way, a very genuine way, but it suits the sport that he's trying to excel at.
Yeah. Well, that's a very fair answer. Such an interesting contrast there, as we happen to talk about Bryson back-to-back and Scotty, that one of them needs love and is out there on YouTube garnering love, and Scotty just always had enough love. And not to constantly analyse these guys.